Justin Shiro. I'm one of the organizers for the group. The candidates, thank y'all for coming out. And everyone, you're more than welcome to take pictures, video. All this could be used to help the candidates in their campaign, get some feedback out to the people and help people understand who our candidates are. So our moderators is Melissa Wilson and Saki Joseph. They have hopefully we'll get through our 13 questions. We're going to start with Manisha over here. And then the next question, we'll start with Adam, and we'll work our way down so everyone gets equal time to start, and obviously be the last one as well. So real quick, I just want to give everyone a chance to give their 30-second introduction. We'll start in the same spot with Manisha. Go ahead, ma'am.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Manisha Gandhi, and a longtime Houstonian, almost 50 years, product of public schools. I'm a mother. I'm a community leader for 30 years. And businesswoman, a financial planner, background is finance, and I'm here to make a difference, and I'm ready to serve. I just turned 60, and I'm ready to give back. My kids are grown. I have the time to serve Fort Bend ISD and do well for our future of our children.
My name is Adam Schoaf. I'm Fort Bend County resident. I've lived in the state of Texas and Fort Bend County for about 9.5 years. I am a law enforcement officer, a business owner. I'm also a pilot. I've got a daughter in the district who's about to turn 10 years old in the 4th grade over at Oakland Elementary. And running mainly to make a difference, improve the district, make things move as smoothly and as quickly as possible, and fiscally responsible.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angel Hicks. I'm running for position 6 for Fort Bend ISD Board of Trustees. I am a 10-year educator in the district. I work at McCullough Middle School right now. I have 3 children. One graduated from Hightower in 2022. I have one at Lincoln Middle School and one right now at Rosa Parks Elementary. I'm running as an educator to bring first-hand experience of what is going on inside of the schools to the board. I want to build community with I want to bridge the gap between the schools and within the community, as well as bring fiscal responsibility and hopefully bring some ideas of how to do teacher to teacher.
Hi, I'm Kristen Tossan. I'm running for position 6. I'm a 28-year resident of Fort Bend County. My husband and I have raised 3 daughters who've been through Fort Bend ISD schools. I'm an attorney by profession, and my oldest daughter has Down syndrome, so I've necessarily been an advocate for education, special education, children with disabilities for 24 years. I previously served on the board, as many of you know, from 2014 to 2020. I served as the board president for 2 years, and under my leadership, we were awarded Best Board in the state of Texas and Most Outstanding District in the state of Texas. Love to have your support and your vote.
So I stand before you as a parent, a taxpayer, and a concerned citizen. My name is Simran Patel. I've been a resident of Fort Bend County since the past 18 years. Here I've raised 3 children, wonderful children. 2 of whom are engineers and 1 is pursuing law. I live here with my husband, Neil Patel, and I'm a mortgage broker, a realtor, and a financial advisor. The cornerstone of my candidacy lies in the belief that our children are our future. They are living messages that we are sending to a time that we will never see. I believe that every child deserves a quality education in a safe and nurturing environment. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. And then for the, we'll do a 5-minute warning. So the Saki could just do, give it
5 seconds.
5-second warning, sorry. 5-second warning, and then can we mute that too, please? We can mute the sound. And then when it's over 30 seconds, they'll just kind of give that's it. So, with that said, thank you all for coming out. Melissa, you want to start? Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so thank you for coming out. You will have 30 seconds each. So that's exactly what we were saying just a few minutes ago, 30 seconds. So he will give a warning 5 seconds before your time expires. All right, so question number 1. It's going to be for position 2. Manisha. How would you work to improve the current literacy challenges in Fort Bend ISD?
Increasing tutoring for reading after school and weekend is also in the current curriculum. Increase elementary reading. It starts from the base. I think if they have proper reading education in elementary school, then it can carry forward to middle school, high school. And literacy includes STEM for me, so everything, science, technology, engineering, and math. And I believe that we should increase and give them time. I think after school is very important.
And then just really quick, I know we don't have a microphone, so I know I'm shooting in the dark here, but if you can speak a little louder, hopefully next time we ran a little short on time, we couldn't get a microphone.
I'll
but
use
if you
my
can
army
speak,
voice.
use your army voice. All right, same question. Adam, shoot, position 2. How would you work to improve the current literacy challenges in Fort Bend ISD?
Well, two ways. One, implement policies that add phonics learning early on. Early phonics have been proven to increase literacy rates further down the road and actually advance beyond the grade level in reading abilities. And then number 2 is I would incentivize teachers through the BAS program, the benchmark assessment in reading evaluations, and basically the higher the jump, the bigger the bonus.
Alright. So we have Miss Angel Hicks for position 6. How would you work to improve the current literacy challenges in Fort Bend ISD?
As an educator right now in Fort Bend ISD, who works at one of the lowest performing schools in the district, I know one of the biggest challenges we have is community and parental involvement. What I would do is try to implement programs to get parents a little bit more involved with the students' work, because we can do only so much at school. A lot of the stuff that the students need needs to be implemented, not just at school, but it needs to be implemented at home also. I would like to partner with parents more so that we can, whatever we're doing within the campus, can be something that we're doing all together. So they're not just seeing it once, they're seeing it throughout the day.
So one of the things we need to remember is that we're trustees, and there's only so much that we can do at the trustee level. Our goal, our responsibility is policy, the budget, and holding the superintendent accountable for what is happening in our schools. One of the things we did was open early literacy centers. These need to be expanded. They only allow so many kids in them. We also implemented a new reading program that did include phonics. I don't know how that's being implemented now, but clearly not the way we set it in place. If we had an audit of literacy, then we would know exactly what's working and what's not. There's been 0 audits since I've been off the board. That's a problem. You need accountability and transparency.
Well, I believe that if someone wants to learn, nothing can stop them. And if someone doesn't want to learn, then you cannot help them. So I don't believe that we should have a one-size-fits-all solution. The biggest influence on a child's education are the conversations around the dinner table. So I believe engaging with community, with parents, empowering parents and teachers, and the respect for teachers, that's what will lead to more engagement in the classroom.
Thank you.
So the next question is going to Adam. What do you see as the problems with the special education in Fort Bend ISD? How would you work to solve these problems?
Well, of course, we need special education audits to ensure that we are on track with the state, and also reevaluations. There needs to be more continued reevaluations. Also, I mean, I am diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia, so the school system failed me, and we just need to make sure that these kids do know that they do have the ability to become very hyper successful even adults.
As a teacher who teaches 3 inclusion classes, I know that a lot of the things cannot be solved until we get more personnel, more highly qualified educators to help us within those classrooms. And so one of the things, because like she stated, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution, One thing I would like to do is to attempt to implement a teacher retention program so that we can attract more highly qualified educators to be in those special education positions so that the students can receive the accommodations and the support that they need.
So this is what I've done for 24 years. We've been non-compliant for 3.5 years, which means we are on the state's radar for takeover in Fort Bend ISD. They are looking at us because of our non-compliance in special education. We had highly qualified teachers. We more than doubled them, and when they cut the budget, they cut the teachers. So again, we go back to the budget. Where and which buckets is the money going into? It's not going into special education. We had a special education audit, we had a follow-up audit schedule, and they didn't do it. So accountability and funding, that's what needs to happen.
So I believe that special education teachers are angels disguised as extraordinary human beings. We need to work towards retaining our best teachers and of course state funding. Of course I cannot do that all by myself, but I can work with the board and amplify your voices, our voices to the authorities that can provide a solution.
Special education is truly special. These are kids that need more attention. And as Kristen and Simran said, accountability from the district, and it's our responsibility as trustees to make sure that we take away some monies from somewhere else and add new programs to accommodate these special education children and to help them achieve their goals.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, Manisha, the current board, oh, yes.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
She just likes me.
My partner's keeping me on track. Ms. Angel, the current board voted down the proposed student code of conduct twice before approving the current version. Yet, disciplinary challenges remain. What is your philosophy on student discipline?
Rapport with students, rapport with parents, rapport with community. I go back to once again building that bridge between the community and the schools, because education is not just academic. Education is the whole child. It's social emotional, it's academic, and it's mental health. So until we can get I guess the help from the community, we can get help from the parents, we can get help from people outside of the schools. I think those are the things that are going to help us out with disciplined students. We need to have a well-rounded view of different things that can go on instead of just going on without schools.
All right, same question.
So I was on the board. We were the first board that implemented restorative discipline, and that was what a lot of the controversy was about and a lot of the discussion was about. Restorative discipline does work. It's not that it's not a tool that you should have in your toolbox, but you can't throw all the other tools out. So my philosophy on discipline is to make sure that the teachers and the campuses have all the tools that they need in order to implement discipline. They're the people who are on the front lines. They're the people who are dealing with students every day in the classroom. And what you have to do as a board is empower them to do that through policy.
So I recently saw a post on FBISD concerns about the distractions in a classroom, and they were asked to put a tally mark, and it was appalling. So of course, if they can't learn the way we teach, then we teach the way they learn. So of course, good behavior has to be rewarded, but you cannot ignore bad behavior. The teachers need to be empowered, and of course, there needs to be respect. They need to be respected.
With positive feedback, if there is a child or mischievousness or distraction from a student, I do think that we do need disciplinary policies which empower the teachers also to help other kids not be distracted. And we need to empower those policies and come through with them without any repercussions by the principal or parents.
So kids need,
a consistent rule book to follow. They need to know what the rules are. We are preparing kids to be projectiled out to the real world at 18 years old, where they'll be subject to law. So they need a breakdown of what's right, what's wrong. Restorative justice in some ways has failed in it takes too much time, too much documentation in order for teachers to actually implement immediate disciplinary issues. But the big thing is there needs to be consistency, and it doesn't seem like there is with these kids. And it would be neat to bring back peer support.
Yeah. Next question to Nasa. How do you explain the performance gap between the higher performing schools and the lower performing schools? How would you solve those challenges?
Well, that's the age-old question, isn't it? We've had performance gaps for many years, and we have tried a lot of interventions and a lot of things, but we were really pretty successful as a board in closing those gaps. Not just putting the funding in place and putting the interventions in place, but we did things like the PTAC and the early college high school out at Marshall and Willow Ridge and Hightower. And so that drew students into those programs and allowed for students to go to school together, to have tutoring, and to have support systems in place.
Well, Fort Bend is of course a very diverse community, and I believe that our differences are not meant to be tolerated, they're meant to be celebrated. So as a board member, as a parent, I would encourage engaging with the community. What are your concerns? What do the schools need? How can we help? Right? Community walks. So once we understand what the grassroots problem is, then we can provide a solution.
And I was looking at the statistics. I think 18 elementary schools are FBISD rating A and 26 middle school. And clearly there's challenges in grading of our schools. And we need to provide the tool and additional resources, whether it's technology, additional tutoring, and getting the parents involved. I know it's difficult for some of the low-income areas where parents are working and they're not involved in school systems, but we need to get the parents involved and have them engaged with the child and have more meetings with them.
Well, when I think of this, I'm thinking of some of the Title I schools. Essentially, the incentives for the teachers need to be through the roof, where the best teachers in the district strive to teach at the lower income schools and the lower graded schools. And there also should be a pay schedule adjustment to where when there are increases in the kids' grades or the BAS, that the teachers get a pretty significant bonus, thus making the teachers want to give a better product.
Thank you.
I'm actually a product of a program that was implemented by an FBISD board member called the EDGE program, where they pay teachers a stipend to go to the lower performing schools to help the students out. Their program right now this is the last year for it. They're cutting it, I guess, for budget cuts. But I know that the program wasn't implemented properly because it started during COVID. So COVID came and then it got shut down. And so I agree with him, incentivize teachers, also make sure we're getting parents involved, and Fort Bend, I have to give them kudos for stuff that they're already doing right now in the schools.
All right, so we have Miss Simran. Did I say her name?
Yes,
Okay, good.
how do you say?
Sen, okay. When there are more applicants than spots for specialized programs, how should Fort Bend ISD make admissions decisions?
Well, there are obviously professionals. There's a string work of policies and committees that have been set up to make that decision. So this involves engagement again with the school, the principal, the teachers, the parents, and of course professionals that evaluate the child, and then we give those facilities to children that need it most. And of course there are other fabulous programs. such as the Fort Bend Education Foundation that also gives amazing grants for such purposes.
Tanisha?
I think there are policies put in place and there are reasons for those limited spots, and you have to see where the child qualifies, and if the best qualified child should be part of those spots, and the others can be allocated to something that is next best. Fort Bend Foundation, Fort Bend IC Foundation, I know has many programs, and they had piano training certification. So things like that, which they can be channeled through different areas and create different spots for them.
Well, the bigger issue should be why is there a lack of space in these programs. It would involve a lot of analyzing, determining, all right, what roles are needed, what roles are not. There may need to be some job title switches, but at the end of the day, with the amount of funding that we're getting from the state for SPED, there's no reason to not increase the SPED program, and it's going to increase the amount of money that we get from the state.
I would suggest that we figure out a way to expand the program so that there will be more spots for more students to be able to have access to it. Because I'm assuming if a student is applying to a specialized program, it's something that they're either interested in, so we want to make sure that we're catering to interest, and it may be something that they need specifically, if it's like a GT program or something like that. So I would search for grants within the state or the federal funding arena to see if we can get money to fund those programs.
Thank you.
So it depends on the specialized program because it's a very broad question. And the bottom line is that it is funded. That's why those spaces are limited. The special education is only funded at 30%. So we don't get enough money for specialized programs. We do get grants already, but basically to answer the question, the first line is needs-based. You need to determine who are your children who are most struggling in literacy, who are your children who are most struggling in special education for those specialized programs, and those are the children that get those spots.
Okay. The next question goes to Manisha. When elected to the board, what are your top priorities?
My top priorities are fiscal responsibility, and that means we have a fiduciary responsibility to manage the budget and to make sure our taxpayer dollars are being used properly and allocated in proper manner. And the second is academic excellence, and to making sure that our schools are lifted up and have the ratings where Fort Bend's my third is safe schools.
Well, the Texas Education Code lays out very clearly what our responsibilities are, and that is manage the budget, hire and fire a superintendent, and write policy. That's what the primary role of this is. However, I would like to see increases in CTE. I would like to see some changes in how the budget's operated, and also more emphasis on new construction on schools, making it safer for kids in the event of an active shooter.
My top priorities are bridging the gap between the community and the schools. I would like to implement programs or suggest programs, propose them, where we can get the community more involved in the students' learning. I would love teacher retention. Our budget was underspent because of the teacher vacancies, and so that is a big issue, not just in Fort Bend, it's a big issue around the country. And so that's something that we need to make sure that we're honing in on, because kids cannot be successful if we do not have highly educated, highly qualified people in those positions to educate them.
So when setting priorities, you look at where your house is on fire. Literacy, special education, accountability and transparency, and ultimately the $132 million overage on a $1.2 billion line. We're required by law to balance the budget. Nobody up here is not going to be allowed to balance the budget. You need to look and see where your funding's going. It needs to go into literacy. You have to make sure special ed is compliant or we're going to get taken over. And you have to restore our audit function. If you don't do that, then you have no idea what the superintendent or the district is doing.
So So every child deserves a quality education equipped with life skills that will take them well into adulthood. Of course, our teachers, our unsung heroes, need to be fairly compensated. They need to be empowered and respected. And of course, I believe in being accountable to you, the taxpayers, who entrust the board with your hard-earned tax dollars and expect them to do right by our children.
All right. This is for Adam, starting. Position 2. Fort Bend ISD has 4 campuses where less than half of the students are college, career, or military ready. How would you improve CCMR scores throughout Fort Bend ISD in their 4 campuses?
So I am an Army veteran, served 4 years, 10th Mountain Division. But one of the biggest ways to get kids interested in the military is more exposure. So it could be something as simple as creating a liaison with the local Air National Guard unit, landing a helicopter in the center of the field. As far as the college, especially service academy type stuff, it's just more exposure. There are a ton of service academy graduates that live within the district that are taxpayers. Be more than happy to start interacting with kids.
I would say I saw a post in one of the concerns groups of a district who did a celebration for kids that were going into a CTE occupation. And so a lot of times we celebrate students that are going to college, we celebrate them when they're getting scholarships for athletics, but I thought that was pretty cool that kids were getting celebrated for going into more CTE-based occupations. So putting more emphasis, more celebrations, giving them more exposure to those opportunities, and making those opportunities seem like a big deal, not just going to college.
If you went to the board meeting last night, you saw that there was a college and career counselor who spoke about the fact that we no longer have one at each campus. We have 1 to 2 campuses. She is serving 6,000 students. You want to know why our CCMR scores are down, why we're below the state and the region in this one area, which we have never been? It's because we took those positions away, we didn't give them a pay raise, and we said you have to do more work for more kids, and it's not working.
So if you were to go in our jails, most of our inmates have never made it to high school. And that's what we need. We need our children to be ready for college. There's a huge paradox between how they are taught in the schools and what happens in college. So yes, we need more college readiness programs. We need professionals to come into our campuses and enlighten them as to what, how their life would change if they were to take that profession.
I would think, when I was in high school and my kids were in high school, career days made a big impact. Success stories of what it's like to graduate from college. What kind of lifestyle do you have? What does it bring to the table for you and your future family and your path in life? And those stories have a big impact. As far as technology, I think certification in welding or a workshop in carpentry, different occupations, nursing, would go a long way for young people.
Okay, next question to position 6, Andrew. Do you support single member districts or other changes to the ways we elect the school board members?
No.
Again, do you want to repeat?
Oh, no, I do not support single
You do not support.
What's the
I
question?
Okay, the question is, do you support single member districts or other changes to the way we elect school board members?
Okay, I'll explain. I said no originally, and I was just gonna just say no, but no. And then, but I do understand the premise of people who want single member districts. I don't feel like in Fort Bend ISD that's something that is necessary for us to do. I just feel like each person that is on the board needs to make sure all children are represented the way that they're supposed to be represented. So no.
Thank you.
As most of you know, I've been very vocally against this. We are trustees, which means we are entrusted with the education of all 80,000 plus students in the district, and therefore I believe every person should get to vote for every person on the board. because we're impacting your kid. It doesn't matter where you live.
This discussion is so heated. There's a time. The discussion is so heated, there's a fire.
So I believe single member districts is a very parochial, tunnel vision approach. Some districts, some regions can be overrepresented, and while some others that actually need the help can suffer. So I believe the board together we can achieve more. No one is as good as the all of us. We need to try together and we need to win together.
My answer is no also, and I strongly feel that all 7 board members represent every child in Fort Bend ISD, and therefore those decisions, policies, and budget all apply to all of those children and to the others.
So I've lived on all 3 coasts of the United States. I believe that there are places in the United States where a single member district would be superior. However, at Fort Bend, I don't think so, not one bit. Where we are, and as diverse as all aspects of this county is and this school district is, I think that if we went single member, it would limit who would be able to actually be on this board. There wouldn't be very many options.
Thank you. It has recently been exposed that Fort Bend ISD has excessively vulgar and sexually explicit content within their libraries. What do you think should be done with such material?
I got the book question. So we have a law in place, as you all know, that it was passed to the legislature that gives school boards a requirement to put guidelines in place. Guidelines need to be in place. If a book does not meet the guidelines, the book needs to be out of the classroom. And I even think that we should put an opt-in, opt-out where parents get notification if they check out a book that's problematic. Dave and I worked on this quite a bit when we were on the board. There were books there that we had to get removed. It was a pretty easy process.
Thank you.
Yes, as Ms. Casson said, there are committees put in place. There are some books that are absolutely not appropriate for kids, and I would definitely agree that we need to meet with professionals that make sure that they don't belong in our libraries, they don't belong in our schools. Our children need to remain kids, and what is not age appropriate should not be exposed to them.
Thank you.
As a mother, I would definitely not want to see books that are available to our children that are explicit in nature and not appropriate. I think we have policies for book removal as a board together. We can remove the books that are not appropriate to be available for children.
Education Code 33.021 Library Standards lays out very, very specifically what we are required to write policy on, and it is very important to have age-appropriate books. I also think that having a parental advisory committee over what is and isn't on the shelves of the library would be very beneficial, because we as board members can't read every single book that's on the library shelves. And also, parents should be able to log in and opt out of whatever books they don't want their kids to view. And of course, if it's pornographic, it shouldn't be on the shelves.
I think all schools should follow the Texas State policy for book removal and the Fort Bend ISD policy for books in the library. So they already have things set in place for those types of books. I just feel like we just need to have an audit, and whatever books don't fit the policies that the state has mandated or that Fort Bend ISD has mandated, we need to get rid of them. Like he stated, we may need some help to do that. We get a committee out, or if we some different people that can come out and read the books and see which ones belong, which ones don't. I think it can be something that as a community we could mediate.
Next question to Simran. The Fort Bend ISD administration announced that the 2023 bond is projecting to be 132.6 million over budget less than a year on into it. How would you improve the financial accountability?
Well, that's appalling because when you ask for a 1.3 billion bond and then within a few months you are 10%, I mean, that's a huge variance. I mean, we all work in careers where we are accountable, and here, of course, we need to have a strong audit committee that audits the vendors. What went wrong? I mean, they do this for a living. So, you know, a square footage of a school, how do you, I'm sorry. So that's why we need more accountability and more audits.
Thank you.
Definitely more transparency in this issue. This was one of the biggest things. FBISD marketed and advocated this bond, and it got passed. And to be short of 132 million, we do need to have an audit by the board that needs to be done and to see where the discrepancies are. And I feel like accountability is a big issue in this matter.
Well, first off, I would like to see a 10-year audit of everything. However, this particular bond overage it's still projected. A good chunk of that is going into the high school build projects, and something that needs to be done is a lot of budget engineering to where maybe these initial proposals are the granite countertop, the top of the line everything, and it's a matter of working these bids down until it's reasonable.
I would say do an audit of the initial, whatever that they came up with, when they initially came up with the number, and see if there was just an overage, if there was something off about it. I know people were saying something about inflation because it's been projected over a certain time and certain things they cost more money. So I would just say do an audit of the original budget to see where the discrepancies were and see if we could do anything to adjust those numbers.
Thank you.
You can certainly scope to budget, but there's no reason inflation in 8 months should have made it a $132 million problem. I'm gonna sound like a broken record. When you're not auditing, then the administration is not afraid that they're keeping things from you. Grail James and I were on a team that went around the state of Texas teaching other boards how to do internal audit. When your administration knows that you know something about audit and that you're gonna make sure and hold them accountable, they're not gonna hide things from you.
All right, this question.
Yeah.
Sure. What do you think are the most important responsibilities for a trustee? What are your qualifications for fulfilling those responsibilities?
The 3 responsibilities are for us to oversee the administrative leadership team with the superintendent. We hire fire superintendents and watch their performance, as well as policies and teamwork. And my qualifications, I've served over 15 nonprofit boards. I'm a wealth management background and community leader.
All right, so I already stated what the law says our responsibility is. Now, as far as my qualifications go, as Kristen said earlier, we are being looked at by the state for a takeover. Under 39A of the Education Code, it lays out very specifically who those board members would be. It's consistent of a teacher, a business owner, and a community leader. I am a community leader in my own community, serving on 2 HOA boards, and I own a couple of businesses that are doing very, very well. So those are my qualifications.
As a board member, we're supposed to set goals and priorities. We're supposed to adopt policies. We're supposed to oversee the superintendent. As a teacher in the district, that is one of the main things that I feel like is a policy for me. The policies that are put in place are policies that I have to adhere to on a daily basis. And so a person that has to adhere to policies that they create, I could be a great eye from the ground to tell people if the policies actually work and what can be changed to make sure that they're working properly.
Thank you.
So they've said earlier what our job is, but one of the things we did really well when I was on the board was function as a team of 8. When you have a board like right now that's not functioning as a good team of 8, you lose focus, which means children suffer. What I did well when I was on the board was, as I said, Outstanding Board in the state of Texas, Outstanding Large District in the state of Texas, Hero for Children Award. I was legislative liaison. I advocated at the state and national level. I'm a special education advocate. I was communications liaison. There's a long list. It's on your table.
So I'm deeply rooted in Fort Bend. I've lived here for 18 years and I understand its diverse fabric. So I speak a lot of languages that are spoken right here, and that allows me to connect with a lot of individuals and families and foster inclusivity. I believe the board that serves a community as diverse as Fort Bend should also be diverse and inclusive amongst itself. Also, I'm a mortgage broker, which means I have to think of solutions every day to get people into homes. So I'm a problem solver.
So we have Adam. Do you support allowing transgender students access to bathrooms and athletics on the basis of gender identity or biological sex?
Well, that's something that the state tells us what we can and can't do with, and as of right now, the state has said no. And as a board member, I would have to abide by the state law, and as of right now, the current policy with transgender students is they use independent faculty bathroom.
As far as transgender in sports, my son is a track runner, and his 400 time is 43 seconds. I have a friend who has a track runner who's a daughter. She's in high school. She won state. Her 400 time is 55 seconds. So scientifically, biological males in track and in swimming, they run faster and they swim faster. So to integrate those two, I don't think it would be fair to the females, and so I do not support that.
When I was on the board, we had to face this issue. It was coming to a head about boys and girls bathrooms and locker rooms, and we held the line very firm on that. So I'm on record already on that. I have 3 daughters. I agree with Angel. I mean, there is no way that boys should be in girls' sports ever. It sets us back decades whenever we allow men and boys to come in and take the positions that women have fought so hard to already achieve at this point.
Well, I respect everybody and, whatever their body, there's a lot that is going on with people that feel that way. But again, going back to what other members have said, I have a daughter, and my daughter went into one of the restrooms, in a public restroom, and someone was obviously, male looking, walked right behind her, and that was concerning. So again, even in sports, that should not be a place where males and females should be intervening.
I agree with fellow candidates. I do think that boys should go in boys' bathroom, girls should go in girls' bathroom. And I feel that these policies are set by the state, and we as a board will have to abide by those. And I do think that should remain that way.
Now this will be the last question. Question to start, Angel. How would you describe good governance as it pertains to the relationship between the board and the administration?
And the what?
Good governance.
Probably tired of hearing me say this, but I'm a teacher, and everything that we do is built off of collaboration. PLCs with teachers, we have to collaborate with administration, we have to collaborate with the district administration. So I feel like governance is going to come from a collaborative effort between all people, us all working together for a common goal, making sure that our goal and our focus is on the success of the students.
One of the things I did as board president was start a governance committee at the board level, and the purpose of it was to ensure that we were operating as a high-functioning team of 8. We also had established relationships and team buildings with the executive team members, because they're the people who have to come and present to us, and at the end of the day, we have to be able to trust them and they have to be able to trust us. But it's all about accountability. broken record, you have to go back and establish a strong, firm audit function.
Well, I agree. We need to work as a well-oiled unit. The board, the people at the state level, we need to work, have community engagement. We need to hear the voice of the people, what is concerning, and amplify that voice to the governance level, and make sure that we have policies that are benefiting our children and the community at large.
Good governance definitely would entail getting along, working with each other, collaboration, and what's best for every student in the district. And I think honesty, trust, integrity, and accountability are the 4 key factors in good governance.
Well, first off, I think the first step would be to create a culture on the board that stems from positivity and focusing on that common goal of getting these kids to grow into successful, high-functioning adults. And it's just a matter of being able to communicate very well, and of course, there needs to be oversight, transparency, and audits.
So that was all of 13 questions that we had for you all, and I can't stress enough how thankful we are that you showed up. It takes a lot of courage to come and sit on a forum with a bunch of individuals you have no clue who they are. I've been on the campaign trail before, so I know how hard it is and how time consuming it is, but just your efforts alone shows a lot. It shows you care, okay? Thank you so much. I'm Melissa Wilson, and this is Saki Joseph.
Yeah, well, you want pictures all real quick?